Om Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Harihi Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramakrishna. Welcome to the readings and reflections on the life of Holy Mother. We are reading from this book, Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, written by Swami Gambhirananji. We are continuing from where we left the last week. Page 184. Either during this or some other visit of the mother to the mud land, Swami Vivekananda went round with her and said, "This is your own place, mother, and here you move about at ease." The mother said afterwards about the land, "Of a truth, I always saw as though the master lived on the land on the other side of the Ganges, in a cottage just where the present monastery and plantain trees are." This vision referred to a time when the land had not been purchased. On the completion of the new buildings, Swami Vivekananda, on the 9th December 1898, carried on his own shoulders the vessel containing the master's ashes, placed it on a big altar on the newly bought land, and performed worship and homa duly. Some monks began to reside there from that very day, while the whole monastery shifted to the new buildings on the 2nd January of the following year. The mother had prayed for a lasting habitation for her sons, and here it was. This happiness was, however, unfortunately marred by a very sad event in a few months. Even while the Sister Nivedita school and the Belur Mutt were becoming accomplished facts, and the devotees of the Master had reason to be proud, Swami Yogananda lay seriously ill at the mother's rented house in Calcutta. Two physicians of repute, Dr. Bipin Bihari Ghosh and Dr. Sashibhushan Ghosh, both devotees of the Master, were in attendance, and both were unanimous that the intestines were dangerously out of order. As the allopathic treatment produced no result, Kavirajas were called in to try the indigenous system. The monks from the Belur Mutt were constantly in attendance. In fact, every possible step was taken for his recovery. But the patient's condition deteriorated. The mother was so very anxious for him that any apparent alleviation of the sufferings of Yogananda produced a corresponding elation in her, and she too felt healthier. But as he lost more and more weight, she too became correspondingly emaciated. For the proper nursing of the patient, the mother suggested at this time that his wife should be brought there. But Swami Yogananda objected vehemently. The mother still brought her to him and said, "Give her some instruction." The monk Yogananda, however, who was free from all worldly shackles and whose vision was more than ever bent towards infinity, said with extreme unconcern, "As to that, you know best." As the last day approached, one of the mother's attendants went upstairs to give her flowers for worship. When he saw her sitting with her face to the west and legs outstretched, while tears rolled down her cheeks, he tried to console her as best as he could, but the mother, "My boy, what will happen to my son Yogen?" The attendant tried to impress on her that there was really no cause for anxiety, for Swami Yogananda would recover. Still she said, "But, my boy, I have seen it. At dawn, I saw that the master had come to take him." And she burst into tears. And regaining a little composure, she added, "Don't you tell anybody Such things are not to be talked about. At noon of the 28th March, the condition of the patient became worse, and at 3 in the afternoon, his face shone with a celestial light. Brahmachari Krishnalal, who sat at his head, now began weeping. And the mother, who was upstairs and whose ears were alert, caught the sound, and she too burst forth into a wail. An attendant, surprised at the piteous wailing of the mother, who was otherwise so calm and collected, ran immediately upstairs to compose her with entreaties by taking hold of her feet. But she brushed him aside, saying, "Off with you. My Yogan has left me. Who will now look after me?" Everything was over soon. The mother next day heaved a long sigh and said, "A brick has slipped off the structure. Now the whole thing will come down." From the subsequent talks and action of the mother, we can have an idea of the depth of her affection for this son of hers and the extent of her dependence on him. In her reminiscent moods, she said at different times, "Nobody loves me as Yogen did. If anybody gave him so much as 8 annas, he kept it by saying, 'Mother will go out on pilgrimage, etc., and then she will need it.' He was always by my side. Because he lived in the midst of women, the boys taunted him. Yogen told me, 'Mother, you will call me Yoga.' Yogen passed away saying, 'Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and the master came to take me, mother.' The master used to speak of him as Arjuna. Sharat, Swami Saradananda, and Yogen, these two belong to my inner circle. It should be mentioned here that the mother referred to Swamis Yogananda and Saradananda as her burden bearers. She said, "I don't see anyone who can now carry my burden, that is, shoulder my responsibilities. Yogen was there, and there is Krishnalal too, calm and quiet, a disciple of Yogen." On another occasion, she said, "Boy Yogen served me very well indeed. None else can do the like of it. Only Sarat is able to render such service. Sarat has been doing so after Boy Yogen. My child, it is extremely difficult to shoulder my responsibilities. None other than Sarat will be able to carry my burden." Instances of Swami Saradananda's incomparable service will be plentiful as we proceed. But now we are dealing with Swami Yogananda's. So, dear devotees and friends, welcome to this 43rd week. Last week was a very interesting occasion, that how mother put the doubt of Swami Vivekananda to complete rest by telling him that even the mantras applied for doing black magic have certain potency, and one must accept the potency of the mantras. And how Sri Ramakrishna did not help him during the trial was told by Swamiji. But then mother explained to him, and with that Swamiji felt ashamed to have told her about his complaint about Sri Ramakrishna, and he returned. And then we also saw how when Swamiji invited mother to the new land of the Belur Mutt, and how she felt so happy that finally Sri Ramakrishna has given the children a place to rest their head. So she was very happy about that. So in this we find in today's passage, very sad event we see. What was the sad event? That her sevak, who had no parallel in serving her, that is Swami Yogananda, he passed away. He passed away. So that's a very sad event that we see there. But before that, we saw that how Swamiji called her again and again. It is said that on 9th December 1898, also on the completion of the new buildings under the supervision of Swami Vijnanandaji, then Mother taken on the shoulders on a vessel by Swamiji and put in the room where the worship was to be done. Later, much later, in that room, a big photo of Sri Ramakrishna was kept. And that photo you can see even now, if you go to the old place. So some monks started residing in that Belur Mutt at that time, while some of them are, of course, some of them have not come there, and some are at Calcutta with Mother. So on 2nd January, in the following year, that is 1899, when all the other monks also came and started residing there. And the Mother had prayed. So in one of her visits, at that time she told Swamiji and others that I always saw as though the Master lived on the land on the other side of the Ganges, because Calcutta was the other side of the Ganges to Belur Mutt. So she is residing in Belur, Calcutta. So from there she is looking the Ganges. And she always felt, what she felt, she always saw as though the Master lived on the land on the other side of the Ganges in a cottage, just where the present monastery and plantain trees are. So after the purchase, she found plantain trees well, and the place also had a small cottage. And everything she had earlier had darshan of what is going to come. And she is telling that, yes, I saw that. And in that very place, the Belur Mutt has come. And that very cottage where Sri Ramakrishna lived is still there. After, of course, it has undergone much repairs and renewals. And now, where Sri Ramakrishna is residing officially is not a cottage. It is a huge building. It is called the Belur Mutt Sri Ramakrishna's temple. The Ramakrishna temple is very huge. And this architecture of that, the plan of that, was designed by Swamiji himself. And it was constructed by Swami Vijnanandaji Maharaj. And he told Vijnanandaji, because he was a civil engineer, and he told him, look, my brother, this temple has to come here. And he showed the place also, in that whole Belur Mutt spot, where the temple should come up. And this is the place of residence of Sri Ramakrishna. And that place came later. And it took about 3 years to construct the temple. And Swamiji told Vijnanandaji, when you will have fully completed the temple and the inauguration will be done, on that day, I will come on the skies and bless all of you. And Vijnanandaji, after inaugurating the temple, he went outside. Everybody wondered why he is going outside. Because Swamiji told him, he remembered, and he looked up and he said, Narayan, thank you, like that he said. So he could see Swamiji standing there and blessing him. In the Puranas, we find that when such good auspicious events happen, so they say that the Devatas come on the sky and shower flowers, petals on that. So likewise, so Swamiji, not only he saw Swamiji, he saw the other monastic disciples who have already passed away by 1930s. So all of them he saw in a group. They were all standing there and blessing. So Vijnan Maharaj was the engineer for that. So that day, Mother was very happy to see that. But then this happiness, you see, once Belur Mutt has been established, and then Nivedita school also has begun. So that also was inaugurated by Holy Mother. And then, so everything was going as per the plan of Swamiji. So everything was nice. Like that, when they were thinking, at that time only, Swami Yogananda became ill. So his intestines were badly damaged. That means you can understand how difficult for him to go to bathroom again and again. And he was the greatest serving person of Holy Mother. And he was her disciple also. He has got mantra diksha from her. So the two physicians, famous physicians from Calcutta, they came and they told that, I think the unanimous, that the intestines were dangerously out of order. So the allopathic treatment failed. Now what to do? So all the other monks, they consulted Holy Mother and said, let us try some indigenous medicines. What is the indigenous? What we call Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, homeopathy, it's like that. Several different systems are there. So Kavirajas were called. Kavirajas are physicians who are practicing Ayurvedic medicine. So they are called Kaviraj. So Kaviraj were called and they also started treating. But then nothing is giving any result for him. His condition suddenly would become all right. And when his conditions become all right, sitting upstairs, Holy Mothers also become feeling elated. And then doctors will come and report to her, today his condition has become better. And Holy Mother felt, I felt elation. I could understand that he is becoming better. But it's likewise, when his condition became very bad or worsening, at that time also, Mother used to feel emaciated. That is what Swami Gambhiranji says. See, correspondingly, she became emaciated. So if the disciple health is bad, she also feeling bad. If he is improving, she is also happy. So this shows the Guru-Sishya relation and how they are affected each other the same way. So even we find that in many places, we find in the mundane life, we find how a mother and her son, they have got so close relationship. And if the son is living in somewhere foreign country with such a great difference of space, but then if he falls sick in that place, she would instantly know my son has fallen ill. How she comes to know? It's a very strange thing. So this relationship has got a very wonderful mental connection. That is, the thought waves in mind, they can pass and they can go and affect the person who loves. Sometimes, people love me also. Suddenly one phone call comes. Maharaj, are you okay? How is your blood sugar? I said, no, my blood sugar is high. Yes, I felt so, you are not all right. Somebody is telling from a distance. So how they can say like that? It is because there is a connection. There is a telepathic connection, as we call. So if you love somebody and if you know that something has happened and it comes automatically to you. Nobody need to tell you, nobody write to you anything. Just it comes to you and you start thinking. Sometimes we feel in the ashram we are sitting, nobody has come the whole week. Suddenly one day morning, I am thinking about somebody. Oh, how is that devotee? He has not come for a long time. And there is a bell sound, tongue. And I open the door and he's standing there. You see how it comes. So you think about somebody and they come. So there are a lot of things are there. In Ranchi, one Saha Babu was there. Saha Babu's missus, her son was working in America. On the day, she came running to the ashram. Early morning. I said, what has happened? Everything was quite normal. In Ranchi, everything was normal. But she came and she was completely upset. And she's crying. And she went to that shrine. And she cried before Sri Ramakrishna. I said, what has happened? Why you are crying? I feel that some danger has come to my son who is in America. And I consoled her and kept her and gave her some tea, etc. And after some time, we get the news that Twin Towers are blasted. And her son's office was in the Twin Towers. So she's feeling that he must have gone to the office and so many people died like that. No, much news was not coming. Only the headlines were coming because of the dislocation of the internet system or whatever it is, communication system. Not much news were coming. Only after 2-3 days only we could get all the news. But 2-3 days after, she came and told me that, Maharaj, my son started for office and he got into the office bus and the bus took them to the towers. But on the way, there was some traffic jam was there. So his bus was delayed 10 minutes. And then he was saved. And the time that he went and he was sitting in the bus, and the bus got delayed, at that time only, she was in our shrine praying. So, very good. That is so. What I'm telling you is that how a mother can instinctively feel the difficulty of her son, who is much more at a different place. So, this is what happened to mother also. So, now, mother finally thought, this is the situation getting worse and worse. Why not I call his wedded wife? You know, Yogananda was married before coming to Sri Ramakrishna. Actually, after coming to Sri Ramakrishna, only the marriage proposals came. And then his mother told, well, if you don't marry, I'm going to commit suicide. So this young boy, he felt completely nonplussed. What are you telling? You're going to commit suicide? Yes. So agree to this proposal. Because we have given word to the girl's father and mother. What is our prestige in the society? So this boy, he started coming to Ramakrishna and was fully endowed with the tyaga, renunciation. But then because of the compulsion, he had to marry. Later when he told his mother, so much problems are there, you made me marry. And she said, what, I made you marry? Because you had interested in the marriage, you married. Like this she told. That put him completely off, So because she said she threatened me that with suicide, etc. So I married. And now she is putting blame on me that I had the desire like that. So once for all, he left the house and came to Dakshineshwar and told Master, I cannot go back. But Master said, okay, you stay here, but bring your wife one day. I will talk to her. And Master talked to her, and even if she had little that worldly thoughts in her mind after the wedding, that also was completely removed by Master. She became an excellent lady. She was actually encouraging people to become monks later, as we see. So mother thought, such a great lady who has been leading a very celibate life all her life, so she should be called. But then Yogananda was completely disagreeing to mother. Mother, please don't call her. He was begging her. But then she says, no, she's coming, you give her instruction. Because he can now initiate also. But he said, no, mother, you know everything about her, so you take care of her. I cannot do anything. But then she stayed there and she did some service to him. That the last moment, being wedded to him, it was her blessing to be with her husband. How many people are differenced from or separated from their husbands during the last days? You see, mother has gone to some foreign country and the father is here and father is in great danger. And then before her coming back, he passes away. So it's all great blessing, I should say, that if you have to stay nearby your husband and do the service of seva at that time, at the last moments, this is a great thing. So she had that. And one day, the last day has come. So Yogananda was very sad on that day and he was not able to speak also properly. But then the news reached Belur. So Swami Saradananda and others also came there and they were all came and sitting with Yogananda. But what Yogananda said to them, that later only says, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva and the master came to take me. Mother is trying. He's downstairs, he is there, and he's telling mother, 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 ma, ma, ma. The three, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and the master came to take me. And mother sitting upstairs doing japa, she knew what has happened. And Swami Gambhiranji explains here, the Krishnalal, who was with Yogananda, saw the last moment and he cried. And when he cried, before that mother knew. Why mother knew before that? Because master had told her, I'm going to come and take him. So naturally, she knew that this is the end. So she was also weeping and crying. The word used by Gambiranji is wailing. She was wailing. There is a difference between weeping and wailing. Wailing is a very, very, with lot of anguish, and it's a loud cry. And that is what, if somebody dies, that is what women do. A loud cry is sent out. And that is what mother did. And this is, and then this brahmachari went upstairs. He thought he will console mother by telling her, no, 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 he will become all right like that. No, you can't hide these things. Mother knew instinctively that her disciple has passed away, her son has passed away. So he held her feet and then trying to console her. She said, no, no, get away from here. I know what has happened, she said. And on noon, 28th March, he said that date is given, an attendant, surprised at this piteous wailing of the mother, that's what he says, who was otherwise so calm and collected, ran immediately upstairs to compose her. No, off with you. She's shouting at him, off with you. Get out. My yogan has left me. Who will now look after me? See, he has come for a special purpose, to take care of me. And that purpose has been given to him by Master himself. Look after. Like that he told. And then he is being looking after so well. And this is what happened. And one of the interesting things, what we notice in this passage is that Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and the Master. Master is the Guru of Yogan Maharaj. He is one of the 16 direct disciples, we call him. Though he had Mantra Diksha from Holy Mother on the instruction of the Master only, but then for all practical purposes, he was a disciple of Master. So the Guru comes. So at the time of death, Guru comes and takes you by his hand or not. This has been bothering some devotees. So only 1 week back, I had an email from a devotee in Calcutta, and his sister and her husband, they came and met me while I was in Singapore. So they regularly hear, I listen to the Saturday, Sunday classes. That's what he says. And his name is Kumar Prasanna. Kumar Prasanna wrote to me recently. He's asking me, Maharaj, can you confirm the concept that at the time of death, that Guru comes and he goes to the place where his Ishta Devata is there? So I'm deriving this second part of this question. So if Guru comes and takes him somewhere, where he is going to take him? So that question also has to be answered. So I'm putting that as a second supplemental question for his main question. So to his place where Ishta Devata stays. In Ramcharit, in the Hanuman Chalisa, Tulsidas gives a beautiful place that he says that once the death happens, then that person goes to Raghuvirpur. He calls it Raghuvirpur. That means if you are a devotee of Sri Ram, when you die, where do you go? You go to Raghuvirpur. Yet place, just imagine a place, this is called Raghuvirpur. You imagine a place called Vaikuntha. If you are a devotee of Vishnu and you die, at the time of death you think of Lord Vishnu, then where do you go? You go to Vishnu Loka, which is called Vaikuntha. In the same way, Shaivas, if you are a believer in Lord Shiva and at the time of death you think of Lord Shiva, where do you go? You are supposed to go to Kailasha, where he resides. Likewise, the tradition has come up in the Ramakrishna order to consider Ramakrishna Loka. A Loka is there in the name of Ramakrishna. Just like Kailasha and Vaikuntha and Raghuvirpur. So, Raghupatipur. So, like that, you can add any number of lokas. These are all lokas. Loka means a place of where people stay. people stay there, reside there. So this is one kind of mukti. In particularly Vaishnava tradition, this mukti, the moksha of merging with the Lord and never coming back, that has been thought of in different ways. So Vaishnavism has brought out in a very beautiful way. They say there are 5 kinds of muktis, they call it. They don't say moksha. The word mukti is used. 5 kinds of mukti. So what are the 5 kinds of mukti that Chaitanya Charitamrita, the life of Chaitanya, says? So it says there are 5 kinds of liberation for a human being who is devoted to Lord Sri Krishna. If you are devoted to Lord Sri Krishna, you have got 5 kinds of liberation. What are they? 5 kinds of Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarshti, and Sayujya. These are the 5 kinds of muktis, liberation, a devotee has got. Of these, I'm telling you a little, I'll give you briefly. Salokya means you have got the blessing to stay in the loka where your Ishta Devata is. Suppose I am having a Salokya mukti. That means after my death, I will go to Ramakrishna loka and then stay there in that loka. That loka area maybe we do not know. How many square meters we do not know. But then in that loka somewhere, I will stay there. And now, second type of mukti is Samipya. Samipya mukti is very interesting. There, not only you go into that loka and stay, but you are very near to your Ishta Devata. Samipa. Samipa means nearer. Samip. In Hindi also we use Samip. That means near. So what is the nearer? Nearer to Ishtaloka. In Salokya, you stay in one place, any point of that area. But then in Samipya, you go and stay nearest to him. You stay. That means you are able to see Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. You can see him in all his glory. And then third is Sarupya. This is much more advanced, where not only you are nearest to him, but you have got a form of his by thinking about the same thing as that Vedantic expression of Brahmara, of a bee, thinking about a butterfly, and then it becomes one day, comes out as a butterfly. So this is an example used in Vedanta. So likewise, they say that you get the rupa, that means the form of your Lord. And then in Ramakrishna, is the reference to Ramakrishna devotion. What I would consider is Sarupya is not like Ramakrishna with having beard, etc. I'll be sitting there. No. If I have a Sarupya mukti, I will have the maximum sattva guna which he had. See, Ramakrishna was born with maximum sattva guna. Tamo guna and rajo guna were very little, just for namesake. But sattva guna was the predominant, and that quality, that rupa we will have. Then the fourth kind of liberation is sarshti. Sarshti is a very beautiful Sanskrit word. It means, the literal meaning is getting all the opulences of the deity, or all the glory of the deity. The glory has got certain qualities, That's what we say. All those things I will be having. So if I have a sarshti mukti, then the last is sayujya. Sayuj means to unite. That yoga word. The yoga word comes from the root word yuj, sayujya. So you can see that how that sayujya comes. And in sayujya, you become one with that Ishta Devata. So that merging with your Ishta Devata happens. So these are the 5 kinds of liberation one attains. And here we find Yogananda was taken away by the three Murtis, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Not only that, and also by Master, his own Guru had come there, and he has taken him. So where naturally he will go? He will go to Ramakrishna Loka. Now, you may not, you may get somewhat feeling amused when I'm using the term Ramakrishna Loka, but you don't need to be amused, because there are devotees I have seen in Calcutta after the death of their father or mother or grandfather. In that invitation card, the announcement card come invitation, they write there, our father, our loving father had reached Sri Ramakrishna Loka on such and such a day. This is how our devotees write. So this has been approved by Swami Virajananji. Yes, one can write. So it's a very beautiful way of imagining that after that where I will go, what is my mukti? If I don't want to get rebirth. Now, if I want to get rebirth and want to enjoy the birth or the suffer according to my karma, etc., that's a different. Then the Lord is not taking you on that day. On that day, He won't come to you to take you. He will leave it to you, to your own karma phala. But if you are very serious that I must not take any more birth, are you serious? Now the problem is, if somebody is serious about that, then we quote the quotation of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. One of the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna is, whoever comes here will not have a rebirth, he says. So this statement also got into a lot of controversy of Sri Ramakrishna. And people have discussed hours after hours in some of the seminars. What does that mean? What does Sri Ramakrishna mean by telling that whoever comes here? So here means what? So all those things are philosophically, they are all discussed. No, I'm not going into those discussions. I'm going to just to tell you that this was a question that came up in a young boy some years back. I'm going to tell this story. Perhaps it may be a little longer story, but then you will have to bear with me. This young boy, who later became a Swami in the order, his name was Swami Sambuddhananda. He was the head of the Bombay ashram, and he only did Swamiji's centenary year celebration all over the world. He was in charge. And then he was a wonderful Swami. And this boy, even before he became boy, he was with the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. He has met many Swamis, Swami Shivananji, Swami Virajananji, and like that. And one of the Swamis, before he joined the Ramakrishna Mutt as a brahmachari, he was very close to one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. And that was Swami Subodhananda. So he put this question to Shivananji one day. What does it mean when Sri Ramakrishna says, whoever comes here will not have next birth, will not have rebirth? So Shivanji Maharaj explained to him. He was not satisfied. Then he went to Sharat Maharaj, Saradananji. And Saradananji is very intellectual type, So he explained to him. He was not satisfied. And then he asked many other senior monks. None of the answer was satisfactory to him. Sometimes the answer may be the right answer, but you may not be satisfied. It's not subjective, you see, how you approach this and what level you are there at that time in your intellectual evolution. That also takes, lots of things. Initially, you may say there is no God. And at the age of 60, you may say, yes, there is God. So like that, the intellectual evolution also can happen. So this boy was not satisfied with anybody. So he was very close to this Swami Subodhananji Maharaj. He was called very lovingly by Sri Ramakrishna as Koka. So Koka is a very beautiful word in Bengali, means my dear, very pet. When you think calling him a person who is like a very close to you, child, a very baby-like. So you call Koka. So a baby, that's all. So you call somebody baby. In English, of course, the baby word is used. So Koka, he used to call him. So he was called also, he was known as Koka Maharaj. And he used to visit Ranchi many times. So I had the wonderful opportunity to meet one of his initiated disciples in Ranchi. Of course, my age was at that time about 50s, and he was that person was about 80s. So he would come to ashram on special days, the Tithi Puja days. He used to come definitely. Even otherwise, also in other days, if he comes, it was my blessed opportunity to serve him. I would consider him here because he was 25 years younger to me. So I would say, "Come, sir, sit here. I will bring my own, with my own hands, bring mudi, etc., to him to eat." And then this man, why I was interested in him was he was so happy to tell about Koka Maharaj. Many things are written in the books nowadays. All the things that his reminiscences also have come as very nicely. And he used to tell us about Koka Maharaj because he was initiated at the time when he was a school student. He had a great experience of Koka Maharaj. Koka Maharaj had come to Ramakrishna Mission Devgar, where Devgar we are having a children's hostel is there and education institute is there. It's a very big institute now. In those days, it was a small one. A few children were there. Only boys hostel it was. So this man also was there. So Koka Maharaj came and he came, initiated some boys and he went away. Now this boy was not available at that time. So when he came back to his hostel and heard that Koka Maharaj came and initiated some boys, he was so jealous of the other boys and he started telling Sri Ramakrishna, "What is the matter? Why you separated me at that very time? I must get Diksha from you. So please get my Gurudev here." Before even Diksha, he started thinking of Gurudev. So what happened now? The sincere prayers are always answered. Never they go waste. So his prayer was answered. So Koka Maharaj had come to Jamtara. Jamtara is a center nearest to the Devgar. So both are in Jharkhand state now, previously in Bihar. So Jamtara center he had come and he's staying there. One day, morning, it was about 5 or 6 o'clock, he is coming out of his room and shouting at his sevak, "Hey, come," said. "What has happened? I want to go to Devgar now. Take me to railway station." Devgar, from Jharkhand to Devgar, it's not a very big thing. And so many trains are coming and going. Even passenger trains are many. So he said, "Take me to the railway station." He said, "Why, Maharaj, now? Devgar people have not made any arrangement for receiving you. But we have not contacted them. You are staying here." He said, No, I want to go there." So what to do? So because Koka Maharaj is telling, so all of them made the arrangement and they took him to station. They took him by train and he reached Devgar station and he went inside the temple and the Devgar Swami was stunned. Koka Maharaj has come suddenly. So what to do? He doesn't know. So he went and said, "Maharaj, please, what I can do for you?" He said, "No, nothing you should. Go to the classroom and call this boy. I have come to give him Diksha. Yesterday night I was sleeping. Sri Ramakrishna came to me and told, go to Devgar and give him Diksha," I said. So I have come. That was the boy whom I'm telling you, with whom I had great opportunity to stay with him. And that man that devotee used to explain all these things to us. So it was very interesting. I used to listen to him. Now, I'm going to another story, not to that man's story. Koka Maharaj used to come to Ranchi many times. And he had devotees there. So one of the devotees only I told about him. But there were other devotees also. There were devotees called one lady, Kusum. Kusum's story is a very interesting story. I think many of the elderly devotees of Ramakrishna order may know the story. They have heard this. I am seeing here in the chat, one Shobha says, when a young girl named Kusum died, her neighbors saw her walking away with Swami Subodhananda. And she says, when Swami Subodhananda was sick, Kusum came and helped him from Ramakrishna Loka. And she adds, when asked what happened, she said she saw Subodhananda and walked with him. But it was Sri Ramakrishna himself. Source, Swami Bhaskarananda, Seattle. This is what the story I'm going to tell you. But in very short way, Shobha has written, thank you Shobha for writing this. so that all the devotees will know. What happened was this Kusum, she became a widow, no children, and she was staying with her parents, and her siblings also were there in the same house. She was extremely devoted to Sri Ramakrishna and to her Guru Subodhananda. This Guru Bhakti is somewhat, something strange. It can be extended to very strange levels also. She was so devoted to Subodhananji. Whenever Subodhananji used to come from Calcutta to Ranchi, he would definitely visit her house. And she would make something for him to eat, and he will take it. And after visiting her house, he will visit the next house. In the next house, one family of Mukherjee was staying there. So the Mukherjee's husband and wife were staying. They were also devoted to Swami Subodhananji. So these two houses he must visit. So what happened was, this lady, that is Kusum, her condition started deteriorating. And slowly, she was in a sick bed. She could not even get up. And the Mukherjees used to go many times. Often they used to go there and serve her also. Because it's a Guru Bahan, Guru Bahan, Guru Bhai, that is what we say. From the same Guru, if you have a different disciples are there, then they consider themselves as Guru Bhai and Guru Bahan. So in many places we say, oh, are you a disciple of Vireshwarananji? Oh, then I have been initiated by him, then you are my Guru Bhai. Like that people talk. Among the devotees, they talk like that. But we always insist, Guru means Guru Maharaj, Sri Ramakrishna. So whoever Guru in the human form that Satchidananda has come to us, all of us are Guru Bhai and Guru Bahan. So we don't make so much of distinction like that. But then among the devotees, there is a system. And the devotees who are, as I told you, sometimes you cannot understand the ways and means of the devotees of Guru Bhakti. So they are Guru Bahan. Now, these Mukherjees on that day suddenly heard in the morning that there is a weeping, wailing, as Gambhiranji says, from that home, the next home. So they just went up the stairs and then looked down in the house, what is happening. They knew that Kusum must have died. Okay, Kusum is dead. So immediately they have to prepare and go there to that house, where she is dead. Her body is lying there. But then one very, very mystical scene they saw. What they saw was, from the Kusum's house, Kusum was coming out with Kokha Maharaj, with Subodhananji. Subodhananji was holding the hands of Kusum and walking. And while walking, they just walking, and they disappeared. He could not believe his eyes. And then he asked his wife, that is Mrs. Mukherjee, did you see anything? Yes, I saw. Kokha Maharaj was there. Both of them saw Subodhananji holding the hands of Kusum and going. In the meantime, in that house, people are crying. When they came down and went there, Kusum's dead body was lying. Now, this is, you keep one side. Now we come to Kokha Maharaj. Kokha Maharaj, after staying in Bellurumet for many years, he went to Kashi to do tapasya. The direct disciples, their ways are also very extremely difficult to understand. Though in Kashi, we have got two centers. One home of service and another is Ramakrishna Vedanta Center. Two mutts are the two, one mission mutt. Both the centers are there. So he could go and stay in anywhere. But no, he did not inform them at all because he wanted to do penance. Tapasya. Tapasya is something great, Sadhus have to do sometime or other, if not all the time. So tapasya he wanted to do. How do you want to do? So he took a room separately in somewhere, not informing any of the Swamis of both the centers. So these center Swamis, they do not know. Kokha Maharaj has come to their town. But he is somewhere staying there. And what he does, he go for bhiksha, alms taking. You go to some house and beg for something, he would eat, that's a one-time eating. The rest of the time, he's putting his mind on Sri Ramakrishna. completely absorbing himself in the thought of Sri Ramakrishna. And one day he fell ill. He had a kamandulu. Kamandulu is a vessel that sadhus carry, the wandering monks carry with them. It keeps water there. So on one day he fell ill, and the illness started improving in such a way that it brought his health down. So what to do? The night, if he is very thirsty, he could not even get up. One day he got up somehow. The Kamandlu was at distance. He went and drank water from there. And then he came back. And he is lying there. He cannot move his hands. There is no one to feed him water because nobody knows that Kokha Maharaj is in Benares. How on earth they will know? And he has not informed anybody. And if he is going to die there like that, only who will know that later? All these complications may come later. But then he is not worried about all these things. He is thinking, my mind is absorbed in Sri Ramakrishna. I am doing penance. That's what his interest is. And suddenly, he opens his eyes and see some type of sound he heard in his room. And he looks at that. Kusum was sitting there. I just now told you, Kusum was a disciple of Kokha Maharaj. She passed away long back. But then that lady who passed away long back in Ranchi is sitting now with him, next to him in Benares. Now Kokha Maharaj talked to her. And she talked to her very nicely. He asked, how are you? Where are you now? She said, I am in Ramakrishna Loka. How is that place? He asked. She said, full of peace. There is no question of worrying about anything. Absolute peace. Shanti, Prashanti. Prashanti Nilayam. A place of Prashanti. So like that, it is absolute peace. I am very happy there. My happiness cannot be expressed in words, she said. Then Kokha Maharaj asked her, so how did you come here? That's I told you 5 types of liberation. Samipya, Salokya, Sarupya, etc. I told you. So the one of the thing is she could talk to her Ishta Devata in his loka. She says to Kokha Maharaj, Ramakrishna called me because she was in the Salokya Mukti she had. She was staying in Ramakrishna Loka. He called me and said, my son Kokha is suffering. Go and serve him. So I have come to serve you. Kokha Maharaj was stunned. Now, Kokha Maharaj took courage. He said, Kusum, one thing I wanted to ask you. That is, some people come and tell me that they saw me holding your hands and taking you after your death. Is it true? He asked her. And Kusum said, Maharaj, it is absolutely true. Can you please explain to me? Then she explained to him that at the time of death of my body, I was thinking about you because you are my Gurudev. I had so much devotion at your lotus feet and I am thinking about you. That's why Tulsidas says, Sri Guru Charana Saroja Raja, Nijamana Mukura Sudhar. The very first line, he says Sri Guru Charan. How the Guru Charan has to be worshipped, adored. That is what he says. And then he says, I was thinking about you and I died. My last breath was gone. And then I saw you standing before me and calling me and telling, how long you will be in this body? Come with me. And then you held my hand and started walking out through the door. That's all. And then while walking, I'm holding your hand and I look at you. You are no more there. There Sri Ramakrishna is standing. So I asked Sri Ramakrishna, hey Thakur, how are you here? Where is my Gurudev? I am the Guru. You said, Ramakrishna said. And then he brought me to Ramakrishna Loka. Now, This is such a wonderful incident. I find that this boy, I told you about one boy who has not become monk in the Ramakrishna order. I started with his story, who later became Swami Sambuddhananda. That Sambuddhananda asked this question. He explained to me, what does Ramakrishna mean by telling that whoever finds here, comes here, will have no rebirth? What is the meaning? For that, Koka Maharaj was telling him this incident. As a reminiscent mood, he told him. On that day, Koka Maharaj explained to him, he says, on that day, that very matter, that very concept of going to Ramakrishna Loka became clear in my mind, he says. And this was given in a lecture, and Swami Bhaskarananji, who is in charge of the Seattle ashram, present in charge of the Seattle ashram, he went to Hawaii, and there he gave a lecture. And that lecture has been written down, edited by him, and that has come in Global Vedanta also. And in many magazines it has come out. And today, in my blog, I have put this news, I have put this story also, so that you can read that, how Bhaskaranji has beautifully written this particular incident. So today only I put it. So, and another thing, somebody, one Sharavana Natarajan says something, Swamiji, please don't laugh at my question. Ramakrishna stories I've heard from Maharaj of Ramakrishna order happening in North India. Any stories in South India or other countries in recent time? I'm eager to know. Okay, Saravana, you are just limiting Sri Ramakrishna only to a particular spot, this wide world. The whole universe belongs to Sri Ramakrishna, mind you. He is the supreme Brahman. For him, North India, South India, West or East, it doesn't matter at all. But then there are many stories in many places also. I know many stories in South India also, as well as in the place like South America, where nobody has heard Ramakrishna's name. There also Sri Ramakrishna, Brahmananda had come there. So there are many incidents are there. Everywhere there are wonderful incidents are there. So don't worry, Sri Ramakrishna is the universal Brahman. So his leelas are happening all the time, all the places. So don't worry, you will be slowly hearing during our class, many times the instances come. So I tell. So my class is not merely reading. So it has got reflections also. So during reflection time, whatever I remember at that time, I will definitely tell you. There are many things. Okay. So with this, we close today's discourse and proceed for the next week. Om Kripang Kuru Mahadevi Suteshu Pranateshu Cha Charanasrayadanena Kripamayi Namostute. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.